Good luck on your mission, Devin!
I'll be back.
Come with me if you want to live.
Welcome to Don't Talk During the Movie podcast, where we don't talk during the movie, we talk about it after. So today we have a special edition of the podcast because we are in Meatballs Mughouse in Little Falls. Now, as you can see, Devin couldn't make it with us today because he is at the Extra Life Gaming Tournament today. So we'll hear from him a little bit later, but not right now. But I'd like to introduce our guest for today. His name is Jace Vogel, and he's from the Full Steam Ahead podcast. Welcome to the show, Jace.
Thanks, Mike. Happy to be here.
So, what's your podcast all about? Would you like to say a little bit?
Yeah, so Full Steam Ahead is mostly a sports podcast. It does include a little bit about life in case, a guest isn't really into sports. But most of the time we usually talk national covered sports, NBA, MLB, usually NFL as well. But it's usually just me talking about my opinions, going through, statistics, all the other kind of things, schedules, the usual.
Oh, that sounds pretty nice. So if you want to go check out the Full Steam Ahead podcast, I'm going to leave a link right down below in the description. Now today we have Terminator Dark Fate to discuss. Now, before we begin, the only Terminator I've seen, I watched it this week, was the second Terminator. So I have a little bit less knowledge on Terminator, but as far as I know, you've seen all of them or just the first two?
I have seen the first two and the fourth one.
Oh, okay. Oh yeah, that's right, okay. So to begin things off here, what did you think? What did you think of the Terminator?
Oh, I thought it was just like another Terminator movie. Very action-packed. They brought the original cast back, which was great. Linda Hamilton was excellent in it.
Oh yeah, I totally agree with that. I think that overall the action in the movie was its key focus.
I agree.
think the action was really good, and we're going to discuss a little bit more about the action later. And overall, there was a lot of good scenes in it where it gave you that sense that the Terminator is back.
Yes.
And it was overall a good Terminator vibe.
It really was.
Now, as I said just now, the Terminator is known for its action and special effects. How do you think it did in that department?
I thought the special effects were very well done this time. I know the last movie, I did watch the last movie as well. Not as impressed. I saw the Sarah Connor Chronicles as well.
Yeah.
Not as impressed with that either. That was the TV show. This was definitely very well made. They definitely fit well in the budget.
Yeah, you see, I liked the Terminator 2 graphics when I saw Terminator 2 for the 90s. That was pretty good. But for this one, I felt it also did a very good job. You had that sort of Venom-esque thing going on again, where he's kind of like, doing his shape-shifting thing like he did in Terminator 2. But this time it's a new guy. So we'll get more into that later. But overall, the action and special effects were phenomenal.
Yeah, the
really
CGI
good.
Was great.
Very good.
CGI was awesome.
Now, the new Terminator, how'd you think of the antagonist?
Well, the Rev 9 we're talking about?
Yes.
So the Rev 9 was very interesting. It was a liquid Terminator, something we've never seen before in any of the other Terminator sequels. And I thought it was just so interesting how they kind of combined a human aspect as well as like a liquid Terminator.
Right, yeah, and he was able to shape shift. And another thing that he did, without spoiling too much, is that he was able to separate himself from his own body.
Yeah.
Which I thought was really cool.
It was basically a weapon in one.
Yeah, exactly. That was awesome. So now I'm going to give you a little bit more information about Terminator Dark Fate. In Terminator Dark Fate, we see Linda Hamilton reprise her role as Sarah Connor, teaming up with a hybrid cyborg human to protect a young girl from a newly modified liquid Terminator from the future. Arnold Schwarzenegger also returns as T-800.
I need your clothes, your boots, and your motorcycle.
I need some new games.
All right, well, as Jace goes and grabs some new games, I feel like this is a perfect time to talk to Meeple's owner, Matt Powers. All right, so now I'm here with Matt Powers. Matt, thanks for having us here at Meeple's Mughouse for this podcast.
No problem. I'm glad you guys could make it.
All right, so just a couple questions here as a nice little brief interview. So what inspired you to create Meeple's Mughouse?
Well, actually, it was a combination of a couple things. My wife and I have always wanted to open a cafe. So when we were dating, we were actually looking at places in Herkimer because that's where we were living, but it never really panned out. But when I started playing with my regular D&D group for a couple of years, we played every Monday nights, and I realized at some point it would be nice to have a place for people like us, gamers and other nerd culture, geek culture people, to go and play and hang out and have fun and socialize and whatnot. So this was born.
All right, that sounds awesome. So do you have any special events that you host here right at Meeples?
Oh, we have a lot of special events. We have open mic nights, which are every other Sunday, and one coming up this Sunday. We have bad movie nights, which is every other Saturday, which is often show a public domain movie we just sit around and make fun of. We also do a Dungeons and Donuts night, which is a monthly Dungeons and Dragons game for people who want to come and play. We have 3 or 4 different DMs who create their own original content, and they run one-shot games. We also have some new events coming down the pike, including our Feature Friday, which is where we feature different games from the store and different mug cakes or different sandwiches. I'm also looking into getting a playtest night with local indie game developers who are in the area, so we're going to start playtesting their games, and hopefully maybe down the road we're going to get a meet and greet between local game designers and graphic illustrators and other folks like that, try and merge those two groups to get more of that community going.
All right, that sounds awesome. If you want to check out more about Meeple's Mughouse, I'm going to leave the link in the description below for their Facebook page. All right, Matt, thanks for being on the show.
No problem, man. Thank you.
I'm back.
All right, so I see you've gotten a brand new game, but all right, before we continue on with the discussion with the Terminator, I mean, we tell jokes on this podcast a lot. They're pretty cringy, so I was a little bit reluctant to tell you this one, but we're going to do it anyway, okay?
Go for it.
So, I'm a huge fan of the Beatles, right? And I got to ask you this. What do you think the Terminator's favorite Beatles song is?
Yellow Submarine.
Nah, it's actually I'll Be Back.
I'll be back again.
All right, so moving on from that terrible joke, I'm going to tell you a little bit more about the Terminator. The script has David Goyer from the Dark Knight trilogy as a co-writer, and they brought back original director James Cameron as a producer. This movie is a direct sequel to Terminator 2, and pretty much negates all that happened in the other Terminator sequels. Now, this seems pretty common lately. You know, movie franchises do this pretty often.
Yeah.
What do you think about when they do this?
I'm really not a big fan of it, honestly. When they skip around the timelines like that, it really just takes away a lot of the aspect from the series.
Right, and I know you told me earlier that, you know, it kind of negates all these films,
Yeah.
and you didn't personally like that aspect of the movie. But one franchise that's very popular that does this is Star Wars.
Yes.
Star Wars, we had Star Wars: A Solo Story, which went all the way back, even before the first episode of Star Wars, episode 4, technically.
Then you got Rogue One.
Yeah, we had Rogue One, which took place in between episodes 3 and 4, and we had the whole prequels. So, I mean, they jumped around so many places on the timeline, and with the Clone Wars show that they did, and just it's all over the board, but, you know, they ended up making it work. So it also follows other movie franchises by bringing back the original story and using it as sort of a springboard for new characters. Do you like that thing that they did?
I don't mind that they brought in new characters. I like that they brought the old cast back more than anything, though.
Yeah. So Star Wars did this again in the sequels, where we see Rey and Poe and Finn. These are new characters to Star Wars. I'm not going to get too much into Star Wars because we'll save that for a later date if you know what I'm saying. But yeah, Star Wars did that very similar thing, and in this movie we had a few new characters, not many, but we had a few new characters, and there was other things in, like the Halloween movie, the newest Halloween. I don't know if you've seen it, but they also used it to springboard other characters as well. I'm not going to get too much into that if you haven't seen it. Now, do you think there is some social commentary in this movie? Like, are we getting closer to a Terminator-type world with AI?
Well, I really hope not, but it's definitely a possibility just for the fact with, you know, evolution of everything going on, especially with artificial intelligence, with Amazon especially.
Yeah,
I feel like Amazon has Jeff Bezos has that in his back pocket, in my opinion. I really do. You talk about drone delivery, you talk about all this
with
kind of
drones.
stuff.
Oh yeah, drones and stuff.
Drones is just the start of it, honestly.
And one thing, I'm gonna spoil a little bit of the movie. It's nothing major, but they had this part of the movie where they were all in a factory and their jobs were getting taken over by robots.
Yes.
Which I thought was very good to put in the movie because it also puts that commentary in where, oh, we got Terminators fighting in wars and stuff. who's to say they can't take their factory jobs?
And you already see it at Walmarts all across the country with like self-checkout and everything.
Yeah, we got self-checkout now, so it's definitely happening, and it's definitely a real social commentary, I guess you can call it.
Yeah.
So now it's time. We have a very special guest here on the podcast, and it's actually the one and only Arnold Schwarzenegger here on the phone. So Arnold, thanks for being on the podcast with us.
Hi, how are you?
Okay, so I'm pretty good actually. How do you think the Terminator will do at the box office?
Yes, I want to talk to you today about the Terminator Dark Fate. It's going to make millions of dollars at the box office. We have brought back James Cameron. He did a couple okay movies, Avatar and Titanic, but now he's back to the biggest movie franchise, Terminator.
All right, that sounds pretty good. Jace, do you have a question for Arnold?
Arnold, did you have to stay in shape for this kind of a role? I know Gold's Gym is always looking for memberships.
Jace, it's funny that you say that. I was working out at the Gold's Gym for 20 hours a day. And then when I had some spare time, I went to Muscle Beach where I was getting nice and tan. But Jace, I must tell you about one problem that I have. Yes, I have problem with Sylvester Stallone. He thinks he's bigger star than Arnold. Wrong. Terminator would crush Rambo at the box office. I will relax now.
All right, Arnold. I know you have to run, but thanks for joining us here on Don't Talk During the Movie podcast.
I hate when people talk during the movie.
All right, thank you, Arnold, and he's gone just like that. All right. Now, as promised in the beginning, we still have one more person to check in with, and that's obviously Devin from the Valley Cinemas. He's going to give us the movie rating, its runtime, and of course, his very own shush rating. Let's go see what he has to say right now.
Hello everyone, sorry I couldn't make it today, but today we're talking about Terminator Dark Fate. It is a rated R film, which means if you are under the age of 17, you must come in with an accompanying parent or legal guardian to watch the film. It is 2 hours and 8 minutes long and follows the chronicle of the Terminator series. I do apologize that I'm not there in person. I'm actually on a 25-hour-long gaming marathon stream, probably right now as you guys are watching this. I'm doing it for Children's Miracle Network Hospitals, and I'm playing for Faxon St. Luke's in Utica, who I played for last year. I'm doing something called speedrunning, where I'm taking 4 video games and I'm beating them as fast as humanly possible. I'll be doing it with Kingdom Hearts 1 Final Mix HD, Kingdom Hearts Rechain of Memories, Kingdom Hearts 2 Final Mix HD, and Kingdom Hearts 3, with some donation incentives. Right now, I'm at $628 out of an $800 goal, all thanks to the community. So thank you guys so much for your support. So here's the thing, is if we hit $700 out of the $800, I'll be doing another Kingdom Hearts 3 run after the first one on Standard Mode, which is the next difficulty higher because I'll be doing all of the games on Beginner Mode. So if you want to see me struggle a little bit more with a harder difficulty, $700 is that. But if we hit the $800 goal, I'll be doing the run on Proud Mode, which is the second hardest difficulty of the game. Critical Mode is another story that I'll be getting into probably next year. I just need to practice a little bit more on that one. But that being said, the $700 goal is almost met. Just need $72 more for that one, and I know we can hit it. And for the total, $800, Proud Mode. If you want to see me struggle with that, please see me at twitch.tv/DTcompletion. I want to say that this movie is just absolutely amazing. It's the first movie I've seen in a very long time that takes a female protagonist and doesn't make her cower in a corner while everybody else takes and does the fighting. She wants to get into the action, and she grasps every opportunity that she can to say, let's kill this thing. You're going to love it just from that perspective alone. Arnold Schwarzenegger does return as the T-101. All in all, I was told to give my shush rating, and it's been a very long time since I've watched a film and I was jumping in my seat for the entire time going, it's action-packed, the story building is phenomenal, and the emotional attachment that you get to all the characters, not just the main protagonist, you get an attachment for everybody, and I recommend it to everybody that has seen the Terminator franchise. A 5 out of 5 shush rating. It's beautifully well done. The CGI animating is just phenomenal. The story is amazing, and the characters are just incredible. And have fun at Meatballs Mughouse, and I appreciate the support that Matt and Laura have given to Mike and us as well for opening their doors to us for doing this podcast here. I appreciate it. You guys have a fantastic weekend. See you guys for Terminator, and enjoy the rest of your day.
All right, so Devin gave it a 5 shush rating. That is pretty insane. But we're gonna see what we have to say right now. Jace, your shush rating.
Man, for my shush rating, I'm gonna have to give it a 4 out of 5. The only reason I give it a 4 out of 5 is just the bouncing around of the timelines. I love that they brought the old cast back. I've said that before in the show. And I also just love how they introduced the new characters, how they gave them their own storylines, especially with Grace's storyline. We're not going to get into it, though.
Yeah.
But I'm going to have to give it a 4 out of 5 just because of the bouncing around of the timelines with past Terminator movies.
All right, I'm going to stoop down a little bit lower than you. I'm going to give it a 3 out of 5 shushes. My rationale for this is because I did like the action. I felt like the storyline was very similar to T2.
I agree.
Extremely similar to T2.
I'll give you that.
Now, this was very similar with Star Wars. Star Wars did Episode 7, and it was very similar to Episode 4. But I still liked Episode 7. But with this, I don't know. There was just something about it I did not really enjoy with that aspect of it. I did love the action. The action in this movie was phenomenal. It was awesome.
Everything around
If you're
it.
an action movie fan, amazing. Overall, though, it's a 3 out of 5 in my book. Jace, you're going to give it a 4 out of 5. And Devin gave it a 5 out of 5. So I don't think it's that bad. I think it was a good movie.
I thought it was good enough. I would definitely watch it on, like, at home.
Yeah, I'd definitely watch it
at home.
again. And so that's our ratings. Definitely a recommended movie to see in theaters.
Absolutely.
Now, before we end this podcast here, we would like to thank Matt and Laura Powers for allowing us to film right here at Meeple's Mughouse. It was really fun, and we'd also like to thank Dave Warner for joining us here today on the podcast. And he also wrote a great story for us on mylittlefalls.com for the podcast with Devin and I, and we really appreciate it. Thanks, Dave. And we got this trivia game set up here. I think before we end this podcast off, we should do one question.
Oh, I've been waiting for this all episode, man.
All right, one question. All right, here we go. We ready? Okay, let me pick one here. I got one. Okay. So, who is the best action star of the 80s and the 90s and of all eras?
It's gotta be Stallone, right? It's gotta be Stallone.
I don't know about that. Oh no.
Got the answer. Come on. I got the answer.
I think we gotta run. All right, everything's gonna be in the description down below. Please be sure to like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Jason, we gotta get out of here. The Terminator is after us. We gotta go. We have got to go.
He's at a Muscle Beach.
He's at a Muscle Beach right now. Oh crap. We are out.
Put that cookie down, cook it down, put that